Hello, dreamers, doers, believers, and achievers, wonderful winners and powerful people. I'm Dwayne Chig, and this is the Encouragement Show, the place to talk about your passions, products, and possibilities. We have a fabulous show tonight. It is a very special show, and I know I say it every week, but I mean it every week. But this week is super special because we're talking about transition, and as we go through life, making our transition, got some gentlemen here that's going to help us as we deal with that. These gentlemen here, we've been hanging tough, most of us for the last 45 years, two of us for the last 47 years. Wow, that's a long time, man. 45 years? That's a long time. And so we've been hanging tough that long. And so seeing each other go through all types of transition from boys to men, through tragedy, through trouble. You guys can unmute your mics. We've gone through all those things. So tonight, we're going to help some people as they go through life, through their transitions, entrepreneurially, educationally, just in life. And so we want to do that. I want to introduce my brothers to you. I want to introduce him to you. Michael Morrow, I've known him since the 8th grade. How you doing, brother?
I'm fine. Yourself?
Good to see you, man. Good to see you again. Good to see you. Mr. Ty Angelo. I'm going to give all the today.
Man, it's good to see all of you guys, man. It's just wow. It's just love. It's good to see
love.
You guys.
It's great. It's great. And my other brother, Kenneth Johnson. How are you, man?
Man, doing wonderful, man. It's been way too long to see these brothers' faces.
Right, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to do something about that. After the show is over, I don't want you guys to log off. We're going to do something about that. And the celebrity of the group, Michael, the Shell of L.A. Hayes, the best DJ in the country. How you doing, brother?
Hey, I'm blessed, and it's a blessing to be with my brothers again. Before it all happened, you know, these was the cats. Everybody carried a crate of records, a speaker or something, in the party. We had a good time. We got great stories to talk about.
Yeah, we did that to help him, but we also did that so we could get into the dance free.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Hey.
And the baby brother of the group, Kevin, L.A. Kev Kimball. How you doing, man?
Blessed to be here representing, holding down all my role models. I'm looking at them, I'm smiling at all these guys. I still look up to you, even though I look older than most of you guys now. Black don't crack, but beige might, I guess.
Man, with these hairlines is going back.
You're going back and turn it all off.
Yeah.
Is my mic too loud? Am I too loud? Should I bring it down?
You're fine, man. You're fine.
I can barely hear Ty. I don't know if his volume was up enough.
Well, yeah, everybody can turn your volume up. This is a blessing. And I need to do one disclaimer. Fellas, we're not at Don Diablo. We're not in Mama Vera's dining room or the den. So remember, people are watching us, so behave.
That might be hard to do for us.
Especially when we get together.
We're gonna
You gotta keep the stories PG.
Right. We're not in Mama Vera's house, so well, we spent just about every weekend for about 5-6 years. So
we're in the K building right now.
Not at all. You want to either get closer to your mic, Ty, or turn your microphone up. But tonight is about transitions. I didn't say turn the camera off, man. See, that's why you got to DM with the bill class. You don't follow instructions.
Where'd he go?
He's coming back. But in all seriousness, we have we're talking about transition. We've seen each other go through transitions, and I want to help the people that are watching, helping us make transition. I want to ask you, when you hear the word transition, what comes to mind? I'm going to start with Mike, go with Kevin, Ty, and then Kenny, and we'll end the show. Transition is, what comes to mind when you hear that?
Family,
Okay.
I don't know. Well, y'all know how I was. So my transition was
Transition.
just growing up, you know, to be a better husband, father, person. And so the route there was rough, but I'm here now. Blessed. My family, everything's like a team with me. I raised my boys to believe in each other, depend on each other in case something happened to me and their mom. And I always felt like that because I was brought up pretty much by my sisters, losing my mom at a young age, not having a dad around. So I always vowed that if I had children, it would be a team. And once they started growing up, I had them to just rely on each other. So through our endeavors, business transitions, life decisions, Cameron going to the NFL,
Yep.
Eric doing his business. Cameron had an agent, but went to his brother for the final say-so. And then he came to us.
I like that.
Whatever Eric does, they talk amongst each other, and then they'll bring it to mom and dad. And everything we've done has always been a family decision.
I like that. Let me hold on, Mike. Let me jump to because there's some things I want to get into that you're dealing with, and I want to help some people who have transitioned in different areas. Kevin, transition.
Okay.
What does it mean to you? What do you think?
Well, transition for me to me pretty simple. Going from being single to being married with 3 kids all at the same time, you know, that's a big transition. You know, I was called Bisquick at one point. They're like, man, you just added water. You went from being single by yourself to now you got a full. You need 3-bedroom. You need a 3-bedroom house to start with. You know, so that was a big transition for me.
I like that.
Of course, I had Big Hal Kimball Jr. on my team at that point. Was a blessing to have my dad and my brother at that time to help me transition from being single, living the dream, to being married with a team. So it worked itself out. I'll leave it at that. That's my meaning of transition.
I like that. I like that. If you just joined us, this is the Encouragement Show, and we're talking about transition. And I'm talking to my brothers who have been in my life for the almost 50 years, and they've seen me transition through a lot of different things, and we've seen each other and helped each other. You can contact, if you want to put a comment in, of any of us, you can do that. If you're watching on Your Encouragement Facebook page, if you're watching on the YouTube page, we're not able to see the questions here. I have to go back after, but if you're watching on the Your Encouragement page, the link that was on Facebook, we can handle that. Everybody, Big Sister Daphne says hello.
Hey.
What's up, babe?
And thank you, Auntie Elise, for watching. Shell, transition. What does that mean to you?
Transition means growth and responsibility. You know, growing up, you know, like it was 7 of us, 1 parent, and had a long ways to go. But when I would say responsibility, I remember being over at Kimball's house one day, and they had a entry like in the hallway, and it happened to be open. And I walked by, and you know, I saw what was in there, and I just saw stop. I saw like backup stuff, and I didn't grow up with that. And I said, when I grow up, I'm gonna be able to have my shelf stocked, so I can be responsible for whatever goes on in my house. If we run out, I don't have to run to the store. I can run to the pantry ain't what we need. And I saw that in Kimball's household, and I said, I want to have that kind of responsibility when I grow up. And I live by that motto, and by the grace of God, I've been able to follow that, transition to that type of living.
I like that. I like that. That's real good. Everybody say hi to Mama Vera. She's watching.
Hey,
Amen.
Hey,
What's up, Aunt Vera?
Yeah.
91 years old on Zoom. 91 years old. Zooming on Zoom.
Zoom.
Hey, transition. What is that?
Well, you know, I think the word transition has grown to a 21st century term of growing up.
Okay.
It weighs a little heavier because the responsibility these days have changed such that regular growing up isn't good enough anymore. So you have to transition now as opposed to just growing up because your responsibilities have changed, the world has changed, lives have changed. And so it's a little more dynamic version of the word growing up, going from childhood to teenage years to manhood to adulthood, and how you transition through all of that. It's just like a kid. You start off with somebody having to carry you all the time. Next thing you know, you're moving by yourself, crawling. Next thing you know, you're cruising because you can stand up a little bit. And all of a sudden, you take that one step. It's like, ooh, I can do this by myself. You know, it's all about transitioning through life, you know, with all those different kind of changes. It's what we do, you know. It's never ending. It doesn't stop. We're always transitioning from one situation to another as we continue to grow up.
I like that. I like that. I like that. You know, fellas, he has not changed. He was always the deep one. You know that? He has not changed in 45 years. Deep. He's always been like that for the last 45 years. And so I guess I shouldn't expect him to change.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, and talking about transition, I need to thank him for blessing me to be able to make it through algebra through Mr. Beal's class. Because
amen.
You know, I sat next to him, so sometimes I had to tell him to move over so I can see what the answer to number 6 was. But we're not going to talk about that.
Hey, we made it through.
Mr. Knowles, help us transition.
You know, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Let me piggyback off something Ken just said. He said transitioning. I don't think we ever stop. And one of the reasons why all these brothers that sit in front of me have been successful is that in every way, in all different ways, they've all had to transition. Some in front of us, some behind the scenes, but
Right.
they've all made it. And in the last year, with this pandemic, with all the social issues we have, the fight we have just to keep our families alive and safe, we've had to transition into something else. And it is truly speaks to all of you cats in front of me, because I know how much your families mean to you, that you've been successful, and I believe you will continue to be successful. And so transitioning to me means being able to adapt.
That's a good word.
Being able to stand with 2 feet on the ground, having being able some energy to go forward, and then to be able to lead your family forward and lead yourself forward.
I like that.
And yet keep them safe. Because that's kind of our biggest issue right now, is keeping them safe. It always has been, but now it truly is, you know, a big issue. And so transitioning is something that we've done ever since we walked off of Dorsey, and we continue to do it. And so I respect for all you cats out there.
I want to jump now. Transitioning, one of the first transitioning, if you will, because people are watching now. They want to go and want to brothers transitioning. I want to ask you, what was one of the first transitioning lessons you learned coming out of high school? Because we transitioned from literally boys to men, but there are lessons in between there. For example, one of the first lessons I learned was, you guys know I went to ASU. Very first year I went there, I made the mistake, 2 mistakes, because I didn't transition properly, but I learned. One, you don't schedule 8 o'clock English class when you're 17 years old and in a state that you've never been to. You don't do that, because I was thinking like a 17-year-old, because I'm, for the most part, my mama woke me up. But you know what, man? The guys in that frat house I was living with, they didn't even wake me up to go to class. So that was a transition into responsibility, as Kim said. The other thing that I learned through transition is that you don't drink tequila sunrise and then go to Jack in the Box. You don't drink 5 tequila sunrise and then a cheeseburger and chocolate shake. To this day, I don't drink chocolate cake, chocolate ice cream. And to this day, that was 1970. That's why I don't drink. 45 years, you've never seen me take a drink. Have you?
We're gonna call that a life lesson. We'll call that a life lesson.
Very much so.
So again, young and stupid, but transitioning, making those life choices to do those things. So I want to ask you, what was one of the first significant transitionary lessons that you learned after high school? Not married, but between that stage between boys and men. Like if you're transitioning from one freeway to another, you're in that curve. You're not actually on the 105. You're not actually on the 110. You're in transition. So that's a rough place to be in. So, Kenny, one of the first transitionary lessons you learned as coming out of high school. And the reason I'm asking this question, because I want the people that are listening or watching to understand that it's processive, and we all make mistakes. And then also there are lessons to be learned. And so I want to share some of the lessons that we've learned so people will see that, we have to make those transitions. One of the more significant transitionary lessons after high school, Kay?
Well, for me, it was when I left high school, I went to UC Irvine, but as a 17-year-old, not really ready to deal with the responsibility that you have of, quote, freedom. I wasn't doing too well. So I remember my sophomore year coming home, and I was like, I just can't do this. So I was given a choice. It's like, either going to go back and handle it or you're going to work. And I was like, well, let me try out work,
Right.
And for me, it's turned into a blessing because I'm 39 years into a career that I'm now going to transition into, quote, retirement. But for me, it's not necessarily retirement, but it's just another phase of transitioning into something I'm going to do on my own. So for me, it would start off as an option. It's that Y in the road. You walk to and you go left or you go right. Left didn't really work for me, but right has done me very well. So even though I didn't make it in the scholastic arena, I've made it in the job arena. And for those that are in between that state right now, it's not bad if you get a good job and work that job to its fullest.
Right.
But if you can get that degree, get that degree. But if the degree is not for you, then get yourself a job that you can work up the chain of command, not just get in there and stay where you're at. Get in there where you can move up the ladder and transition as your life goes on.
I like that. Mike, one of the more first significant lessons, transitionary lessons or issues or situations after high school?
Well, with me was I, as you know, didn't finish at Dorsey, so I had to finish in night school.
Okay.
So that was a transition.
Mm.
I kind of fell on hard times. I mourning my mom and not really understanding what was going on with me. I would see you guys and project and make like everything was all right, but inside I was just crushed. And one day in class, Mr. Hamilton kind of called me out and got real personal with me. And I kind of rebelled.
Okay.
After that, I had just started, I don't know what period it was. I was hanging out with Shell in his jewelry class pretty much every day.
Right.
And then I went to the counselor. I didn't get any help. And I said that was it. And that's when I left and moved to Pomona. Finally got my stuff together, finished up with night school.
Okay.
And started working. And then I figured I had to do something else, so I started driving semis. I taught myself, took the test, passed it, and drove for 35 years before I had a accident at work, broke my neck.
Stay right there, because I want to talk about that. We're going to talk about transitioning through troubles and tragedies, because each of us have, our own, and then, most of the significant ones that we've gone through, we shared, we were there for one another going through that. So, significant transition, first transitionary lesson on leaving from boyhood to manhood. Ty.
Mute.
Unmute yourself.
Got it.
Transitionary lesson, leaving high school, one of the first most significant ones going into manhood.
I think the very first semester, I think it was Shell and I went. And we went to LA Trade Tech, I think that following September. And we were just really two pups, not knowing what we really were going to do, but we both, we kind of put ourselves in some art classes.
Drafting.
And I think it was technical drafting, and doing, Mike wasn't technical, something, technical draft, we signed up and we were there, But I think what he knew and I knew is that we really didn't plan as much as we should have for that fall, but we knew deep down we need to be in school.
Right.
And we knew that, we just couldn't hang out, and we weren't going to be the hangout cats. So transitioning for us right after high school meant at least going to JC, trying to figure it out, getting our feet, underneath us, and then going on from there.
Like that. Shell and then Kev, same question. Now I'm going to move to a probably a more serious question. Shell.
Oh, me? Question. I think.
Yeah.
Me? Okay.
Yeah,
I thought you said Kev. All right, my bad. Hey, transitioning for me, like Ty said, going from Dorsey to LA Trade Tech, then I tried LACC, then SMC. I wasn't sticking with anything consistently. And then in that period, as you guys know, my girlfriend, Angela, she got pregnant. There was one. I was the first out of all of us to go through parenthood. So leaving school, and then a couple of years after school, dealing with parenthood, because I did have goals, but when that kicked in, I had to work full time instead of part time, and put my other goals on the back burner, and then just navigating through life, trying to land in a career that works for me. So parenthood was a big transition from high school for me.
Ah, yeah, definitely. Kevin, same thing. Transition, one of the first significant transitionary lessons from, teenager to manhood, in that transition. What was the
Right.
first-
Well, I can definitely say there was challenges. Of course, being the youngest, I was trying to hold my own, trying to set my own traits. So I wanted to make sure I did something to establish myself.
Right.
I was blessed. I was blessed enough to be able to attend Morehouse College right out of high school, and that was a big move to move from LA, getting all this California love, and then going to Atlanta, Georgia. It was that right there. Just growing up with me, I was bussed all the time, going to Palisades. I never went to Alpine. I never went to Dorsey. I got to Par Review. I went everywhere but where I lived. So all of a sudden, now going from that to now you're going to a black college in the South. They didn't care about you from California. That was the back burner. It was like, what are you doing out here, and what are you about? So I had to establish myself as a man. Literally at 18 years old, I was on my own. I couldn't call dad and say I'm coming home for the weekend when you live in Atlanta, and everybody else was in the city. So I had to figure myself out, find my way, and that's called discipline for sure. Because, like you said, don't take classes at 8 a.m. If you're really gonna if you're trying to really get a good grade, 8 o'clock class is not class. You know what I mean? You want classes start about 9:30, and they're over about 2:30. Those guys taking those 4 o'clock and 5 o'clock classes, they weren't focused on school at that time. They're trying to see what's going on in the parking lot. So that right there was my transition, learning how to go out there and really grow up, man. I mean, I had to grow up. I was always the youngest, idolizing all you older and mature guys, which helped me because I looked at the other guys who I was in school with like, they're only 2 years older than me. I know how to handle guys who are 7 and 8 years older than me. At least I know how to approach them and to fall in line with them. I was definitely always in my lane when I was with you all. So it helped me when I left, being able to remember all my experiences with you all, having an older brother made me who I was when I went to Atlanta. They didn't look at me as a freshman. People thought I was already like coming to graduate. Like I was just there transferring from another school, but I was literally a freshman out there, So that's my little right there, and I'll stop right on that moment.
Got a couple of things.
Kevin,
Go ahead.
We had some positive influence on your life.
No doubt. I look back at it, and I look at all the times I was with you guys, and literally, I've seen other guys hang out with older guys, and I know what happens, and I didn't have that. I didn't have none of that. I didn't have to. I don't know. I was blessed. I did more dirt probably when I was in school than I ever saw when I was with you guys. So that was a transition.
Hey, Kev.
Go ahead, Kenny. Kenny, go ahead.
Let me ask you this though. Hey, Kev, let me ask you this. Was that before? Hey, Kev, was that before or after? Hey, Kev, was that before or after you chased me and your brother with the baseball bat?
Oh, that was definitely after. That was definitely
Remember
after.
that?
Because I was not chasing
chased us out the house with the baseball bat when you was little.
I don't remember that. I wish there was a video camera at that moment because I don't know how you guys were running from me with the bat. I think it was more fun because you guys.
I wish it was too.
A couple of things. Transitioning, Michael, one of the first significant transitions after a tragedy was the accident that you and Harold and Jill had, way back then. How did you transition in your life and your thinking? Did that do anything, to you, for you, bad, good, or what?
Mike, what year was that? Mike, was that 81 or 82?
80. It may have been 1981 or 80.
Yeah, I think it was early 81, around there sometime.
Real early 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah, 81 or 80, 81.
Yeah. So, coming out of that, because we're not just talking about a bump,
No, it wasn't earlier.
So how did you come from that? Did that do anything to you in terms of your?
I was just thankful that all of us end up being all right, even though I joke about it because Hal and I were in the front seat and we were laughing and talking, and next thing I know, a gust of wind hit us and we started going down the hill. And I guess we hit a tree or a rock or whatever.
It was a tree.
Jill was asleep in the back seat.
Right.
I couldn't move.
And she still married you after that, huh?
Yeah, I couldn't move. And I just told her, you got to do something.
Yeah.
Hal wasn't saying anything. And then he started gurgling like a baby. And it really freaked me out.
Right.
And I just reached over and punched him in the jaw. And when I did that, it kind of brought him through.
Right.
She hopped out the car, went down the highway, the hill, crossed the highway in the dark, found help, came back, and they took us to the hospital.
I want to talk,
but I was just grateful that we made it through it.
I want to talk about transitioning through tragedy. Daphne says it was January 81.
Okay.
Yeah, January 81. I need to take this commercial break, but when I come back, I want to talk about transitioning through tragedy because people are watching now, and 2020 has been a crazy year in terms of tragic situations in people's lives and being able to continue to go on. And, one of the first significant, tragedy or loss of a loved one that I've had in my life, probably the first one. I want to talk about that, and we all share that. So I want to talk about that right after I come back from this. I want to thank everyone for being here on the Encouragement Show. We're brought to you in part by my latest book, Encouragement from a Formerly Frustrated Dreamer. If you have a dream to do, a goal to get some success to seize, this book will help you. If you're frustrated by things not coming the way that you want them to do, this book will help you. It's full of motivating messages. The first part is called Quick Reads. There's a quick read here called Just Because Others Don't See It Doesn't Mean You Can't Be It. And we have a motivating message here, Moving Up Beyond a Mess Up, and one called How to Pace Yourself. PACE is an acronym: persistent, assistant, consistent, and your dream will be existent. And then the last section is full of motivating messages. Also after that, some original encouragement quotes, like the one on page 91 that says, "Don't let the regret of what did not happen cause neglect of what can happen." So if you've got a dream to do, a goal to get some success to seize, this book will help you. You can get your copy through Amazon.com. Just go to Amazon.com. In the browser, put in my last name, Shigg, S-H-I-G-G. You won't get lost because there's only 3 people on there with that name, me, my brother, and my cousin. So you will be all right. So order your copy today. And we thank you for being part of the Encouragement Show all of these years. December 5th, remember that day. You're watching this live. If you're watching the replay before December the 5th, we will have the year-end encouragement event. Last year, it was successful. This year, obviously, we have to do it virtually, but we will be helping you leave this year and launch into next year. Encouraging you. I'll give you 4 things that you must do if you want to be successful. Also, we'll be giving you a push to help you pursue your passion. So if you want some information about that, you want to be a part of that, you can contact us at drshig@gmail.com. That's drshig@gmail.com. We're going to push you. We're going to help you realize that the dream is doable, and we're going to help you go get it. So contact us at drshig@gmail.com. We are back. This is the Encouragement Show. I'm Dwayne Shig, and these are my brothers of the last 45, 47 years, and talking about transitioning into life, transitioning into a lot of different things. I want to talk about transitioning after a tragedy. The very first person close to me that passed away was Hal. And that was just crazy. There ain't even no words to describe that, but the tragedy of that and being able to go on after that to deal with that, like I said, I hadn't had anybody close to me pass away before. People I knew, I knew people that died, but nobody close. I want to start with you, Kevin. What would you say to somebody? How would you help somebody? That was your big brother, biological big brother. Kenny, that was your biological cousin. You guys just shared him with us. Transitioning after a major loss like that, how did you handle it? Because I don't think you ever get over it. You just get through it. And so, how did you handle it? How would you help somebody dealing with a tragic loss? Kevin?
Prayer number one, you have to pray. You have to get out of yourself at that point, because you can always be about what was me. You can always be sad. You can always feel about why did it have to happen to me? Why him? You just pray and you just thank him for the time you have him.
Right.
You realize the time you have was so precious that you had him. I wasn't even guaranteed to have him that long, but I did. So you look at it that way. Who's to guarantee you're going to see somebody tomorrow? It got to that point. It got real clear to me that this breathing we do, this waking up, this thing that we do every day is not a guaranteed situation. So right. when it hits home, there you go, Shell. When it hits home, man, you just have to. You look for everybody else around you that loved him as well, like all you guys, like all the love that came from that situation. It wasn't so much the sadness; it was almost like the unbelievableness. And then let's just hold each other closer. We don't know when it's going to happen to someone else. Who's next. No one wants to be the next one. No one wants to say, "Okay, I'll go next." Right. No one wants to be that person. So when it was him, I looked at it as the reason that's going to be him. That was what Hal did. Hal jumped out there in front on a lot of things.
Yes.
Jump out there. So he was one of them guys that was going to jump out front, man. So I kind of realized that was his amount of time he was supposed to be here. And I have to celebrate it because 2 months after that, I was right back there with my dad. So it wasn't any time to grieve, really, man. I had to step it up. That's the real transition there, going from being a newlywed to now I'm trying to handle 2 and 3 different families and support my mom and my own family and his family and my sister. It's a big deal, So I would hate it to happen to somebody else, but if it did happen to you, trust in the Lord, pray, reach out to the ones that love that person, and they also love you, and that will get you through. All you guys on here, you guys all helped me at that point because you guys were going through it as well. You guys know Kenny knew Hal longer than I knew Hal.
Yeah.
So, right. I only had him for so many years, and I was just thankful. At the end of the day, I'm still to this day. I can't believe that it's been 20 years. It was 20 years. It was 20 years 3 days ago.
Yeah, Daphne just reminded. I was talking earlier today. Reminded the 25th. Yeah.
And it's so close to Kenny's birthday too. So it's kind of bittersweet because we celebrate birthdays and we celebrate death all in the same week. So it's a tough thing to deal with. And my dad's birthday was yesterday. So that whole October, between the 16th and the 28th, it's a lot of good, but it's a lot of tragedy in that same time.
So you had the 16th, Hal the 16th, you had Kenny.
Hal born on the 16th, Kenny's born on the 21st, right, Kenny?
21st, and then Dad
he passed away on the 25th. Yeah, my dad's birthday was the 28th. So
So Kay, as Kevin said, you know, in terms of knowing him, you knew him longer than all of us. You know, your biological dealing with that transition through tragedy. What helped you? What would you say to somebody? Because this show is all about helping. I know we're here talking amongst ourselves, but really want to help the people that are watching. How do you get through? Like I said, you get through it. You don't get over it. So how did you get through it? Help somebody.
You know, it's one of those things like Kev said, you know, you realize that, like my father used to say, tomorrow's not promised. So you never know what tragedy is around the corner. Trey and I were literally 5 days apart in age. He was older than me by 5 days. So yeah, you know, in formative years, we spent all of our birthdays together. His mom, my mom would pull our birthdays together at the same time because economically it was easier that way. And our friends are pretty much the same. But the way you get through it, like Kev was saying, you've got to reach into a stronger source than you, because you can't do it by yourself. Nope. And the first thing that helps you through it is your Heavenly Father. That's the main thing that helps you through it. And then when you have support from friends, relatives, brothers like you guys, we go back, you start to see that in tragedy, there's still some positivity because it makes us stronger. It brings us closer together. And in that, your strength in numbers has always been, you know, in war and anything else, strength in numbers. And when you have the numbers that are supporting you, then walking with you through it step by step, it makes the transition a little easier because you'll never get over it. You know, I was thinking about him just the other day because I remember the last time I saw Trey, he and I sat back and said, we're in the parking lot of Calvary Baptist Church. And we kept saying, we got to find time to get together. We got to find some time in our busy schedules just to sit down and chop it up again. And unfortunately, we never had that opportunity. I have it now with him from time to time. I'll stop and he and I will talk, you know, but when you're face to face, you realize that it's really precious. It's really precious. And like I say, through the grace of God, he strengthens you and he helps you get through it and helps you find a way to deal with it. Because like I say, it just never goes away. It's always there in the back of your mind. Like Kev was saying, the 25th, I wake up, it's like, ooh, that chill comes across my back. Like, what is this? Oh yeah, I remember this day. I remember this day.
Yeah. I'm going to ask Ty, Mike, and Shell the same thing, dealing with that tragedy coming through. And I'm putting Mike in the middle because hopefully, you know, Ty's lead-in will help him. So when he passes the baton to him, and so then Shell, I want you to close this out. But dealing with a tragedy like that, transitioning through it, how do you do that, Ty? How did you do that? You know, losing him. Again, very first significant, and then, you know, we've lost other people, your grandmother, my grandmother, parents, brothers, whatever. But that was, like I said, that was the first person of any significance in my life to pass away. So talk to us, Ty.
Yeah, that was pretty rough, especially the suddenness of it. He had just been over my house that Sunday night. We were talking about cars and what he was going to purchase and his life, and should he get a BMW or should he get a Mercedes? And we were kind of having some fun, you know how with cars. And so we were just having some fun, just talking about that. And then all of a sudden, he get that call. It was really a punch. And so the feeling of him gone, like you guys said, it never gets over. You know, we deal with it. And I think going forward for your listeners, just what you guys just echoed is that I would suggest have some type of spiritual foundation that can help you during that period of time, because that will get you through prayer, hearing from the Lord about what you should do next and how you feel. Will actually work, and it will get you through, as opposed to other methods. And some people try all different types of methods involving pills and drugs and alcohol and They may be eating sex, overeating, whatever it is out there that they do. But what will get you through that, and we will all go through something at one point in our lives, if you haven't already, is something, getting a spiritual awareness and having some foundation over you that will help get you through it.
Good. Thanks. Mike, dealing with, this tragedy, like you said, he was in the accident with you, and then this tragedy, transitioning through it. How did you get through it? How would you help somebody, deal with something like that? Because again, it happens, but sometimes it's a shock. Like that was a shock. I was in a pastor's meeting, and
that was a major shock. Shell called me, and I was in total disbelief.
Right.
What helped me get through it is just talking about it, prayer, and I'm still transitioning with it. Shell and I just talked last week about it. Shell and I talked about how probably 6 or 7 times.
Yeah.
And to lose a little brother like that, I don't know if y'all realize, well, I know you realize, Hal was one of the youngest out of us, but he was the go-to guy.
Right.
Whatever we did, no matter what, we would call him to see what was going on, what we were going to do, how we were going to do it, what we were going to wear, and going through that, we would end up at the Kimball's house watching Get Smart, laughing and talking,
everything.
And going from him cracking jokes about all of us, we getting on him.
Right.
And the part for me transitioning from that, I just missed it. I don't know. I still can't believe that he's not here.
I believe you, Mike. I believe you.
I think about him every day.
Oh yeah,
every day.
Of course we do. Of course we do. Shell, help somebody. Help us.
Okay. Now I analyzed this a whole lot because a few days before Hal passed away, Hal was up the coast driving, and I said, "Hal, where are you?" And he said, "I'm driving." I said, "Well, why?" He said, "Sometimes you just got to get out and see the world and do things." Hal was in a mindset; he was in a different place because when I told Hal about some things that had happened, his reactions weren't what I expected, and he was like, "Why did you do that?" And he was, so his spirit, I think, was in a transitional stage a few days before. Not Hal the person, but Hal's spirit was in a transitional stage. And then it all came to me after he died, and I thought about it and I processed it. And I said, Hal was in a transitional state, in my opinion. Now, what got me through was my dream. When I would go to sleep, like hundreds of nights, when I would go to sleep, my dreams would be with Hal. It would be with us. And still to this day, I have dreams where Hal is here. We doing whatever, but I still get visits. As strange as it sounds, I still get visits from Hal in my dreams. So people, I don't know how you break down the dreams, but it's an out of body experience. That's how I analyze it. A dream is an out of body experience. It's not just you sleep. Your mind is in a travel zone. Your body is at rest, but your mind is in a travel zone, and it connects with people. And so many nights I've had dreams with Hal, with us and Hal, and still even recently, all these years, I get visits with Hal in my dreams, and I kid you not, I couldn't make that up.
Oh, I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. Transitioning through a tragic situation, each of you have talked about, your prayer life and different things of that nature, and making it through, and still thinking about him now. DJing or different things of that nature. About thinking about that pipe that your father had, Kevin. I remember going to
the pipe he had. You never saw him smoke out of it, but he had it.
Yeah, changed colors. I remember going to the Fox Hills Mall with Hal to buy that. He bought it, but we went to the Fox Hills Mall to pick that up. And so, remembering things of that nature and things of like that. So one of the things, good memories help you get through tragic situations. Good memories, your prayer life will help you get through. I've got a couple of more questions. I want to transition, pun intended, from that, and each of us have talked about our spiritual life. Now, to our viewers, if this is not your point of reference, just get the lesson out of it. But I want to talk about that. At what point did your spiritual life transition from just going to church? Because Cheryl, I know your uncle, Bishop Bimbo, one of the most popular pastors in the Kojic church, he was, and then you grew up in that, and Kay and Kevin grew up as I did. They were there when I got there. As a matter of fact, they're the reason I'm there. Kenny's the reason I got there to Calvary Baptist Church. But grew up there as a teenager. But coming from just an intellectual knowledge of Christ, or you went there because your mama went there or your daddy there, I want to talk about the transition to maturity in your spiritual life, moving from just going to church, or it's just an intellectual thought of God, to a walking relationship. I know when I was talking to Mike a couple of weeks ago, you were talking about, dealing with, illnesses and stuff. But you mentioned just thankful that, about the Lord Jesus Christ and all that he has done. So I want to ask you, when did you transition, or how was the transition from just a church person, just an intellectual knowledge of God, to a real walking relationship with Christ? You understand my question? And I want to start with Ty, Mike, and then I want to end with Phil, Kenny, and Kevin, because Kenny and Kevin were a part of a church where their family, that family that, engrafted me in, their family was the foundation of the Calvary Baptist Church. And so, but I know coming up, you might have gone because your mama made you go, because your daddy did. But I want to talk about that transition into your own personal relationship. What was that like? When did that happen, Ty and Mike? What was that like? Because I don't know if you guys grew up in church, right? The transition to a real relationship with Christ. What was that like, Ty?
The initial time for me was, I had went to some other churches prior to going to Calvary with Kevin and Kenny, his mother, sister, and Hal. But once I got there, you're going with people your age, and you can see and you can feel something a little different. And so I would say probably for me, when it started, was I want to say probably around the time of maybe Hal's passing. Maybe. Okay. And the pain I felt, the sheer pain and anger I felt for him leaving us and wishing he was here. But then, the Lord helping me with that, and me transitioning on to understand that, we are born to die. and that I should be happy for the time I had him.
Right.
And
Right.
we're all of us are better people. Like Mike just said, we're all better people because of him and his dad and his brother and actually had his sister. And so, you know, the Kimball family spread it out through all of our lives growing up as young men. And I don't know, Kevin, if you really realize how much your family really had an impact on our transition as boys to men, and no pun intended. It really had an impact of the love that we saw a father have for his children, a love of a husband to his wife, a love of a provider. You know, all the things that, you know, my dad wasn't there either, that we, you know, needed to see and actually feel that. And so seeing how involved that your family, Kev was involved, Kenny was involved in the church, and then seeing you guys live it, you know, as much as possible in a real world, really helped this man a lot.
Okay. And it was good. I'm going to go to you, Mike. It was good to have that, as you talked about their father. You know, for me, it was just another one, because my father was in my life all the time. But it's good, you know, if one dad is great, what would two be like? You know what I'm saying? And so, Mike, the transition into a real relationship with Christ, how did that happen? What was that like?
Mute.
Mike, you're on mute. Take yourself off mute.
Yeah, it happened for me when my son Cameron, how's that work? It seems my mother-in-law called me and told me that he had got hit by a car. Cameron was 3 years old. I think I did about 115 miles an hour to get home.
Kevin,
I get home and I asked her how come she didn't call the paramedics. She said that she got him out the street and prayed over him. He's going to be all right. Thanks to our Lord and Savior. Take him to the hospital, get him checked out, but he's going to be all right. So I took him to Kaiser Fontana, and they said that he just had a bruised eye.
Wow.
And so from that point, I was like, man, through prayer and her belief, and she was always praying over us, that I figured I had to make a change. And so that's when I started going.
all right.
And the testimonies, the same. When Shell got married, my daughter was born. My daughter, they wrote her off. They just kept telling me, she's not going to make it through the night. She's not going to make it through the night. So we called our pastor. My pastor came in there, put his hand in the incubator, prayed over her, and said she's going to be fine. The next morning, she was fine. The doctors didn't know what happened.
Amen.
And so,
How old is she now, Mike? How old is she now?
29.
Martin is 29. Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
So, through prayer and everything, just me talking to him with personal relationship,
Right.
it's changed my life.
All right. Shell, I know that you were in church, you played the drums, your mother, your sister, all your family very active in, the Kojic Church, jurisdictional levels, your uncle, Major Bishop. When did it becomes real, because sometimes when you go to church and your family's ingrained in it, it may or may not, it may just be habit, it may just be responsibility. But when did it become personal and real, that transition?
Wow. I honestly, I don't know, because maybe I take it for granted, the prayers around me. Like I don't even remember my grandmother, but I remember her praying all the time, and my mother being on the phone and with other saints, and they would be speaking in tongues and just having prayer over the phone all the time. And I guess I take it for granted, but all around me, the ancestors and everything, and then my father-in-law is a holy preacher, and I don't know if and when I transition, but I know, I guess just through growth.
I can't see.
Surrounded by me is people praying for me. When I first got married, real quick, when I first got married, I didn't know my wife was as spiritual as she was, but I don't know if you guys know about a prayer cloth. But
battery running low.
When I was on my side of the bed,
battery running low.
When on my side of the bed, the sheet came off, and I had to put it back on. And then underneath that sheet, there was a prayer cloth stapled with a safety pin, right where I would lay. And I was like, this woman is really praying for me, and I was blown away. It's like the people that surrounding me, are praying for me, and I'm grateful for that. But I do need to step it up in my spirituality to get to a higher level, because I know that that's the only way to reach eternal life is through our Holy Savior, Jesus Christ.
All right. I don't want to hold you guys too long in our viewers, but Kevin and Kenny, same question, because you all were, your family's intricate in the establishment and growth of the Calvary Baptist Church. You all are the reason I got to Calvary, where I started preaching, taught by, probably in my estimation, one of the greatest pastors, my mentor, Dr. Manuel Scott Sr. And when did it become personal and not just, this is where my family goes and I'm supposed to do this and all these things? Kevin, then Kenny.
Okay, I'm just going to make it real simple for you guys. Just watch the picture. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine.
Okay.
If I didn't have her in my life, I would not know the Lord like I know the Lord. This is the reason that we are all still here. The glue is right here. The glue of the Kimball family is right there.
Okay.
That lady right there. That lady right there. And y'all know she ain't never said nothing but love to each one of y'all. She doesn't even know how to be anything but love. That right there. That lady right there is the reason for this season. I look at it now because I thought she was going to be right after them, I said, she's going to fall into this. They say when people die, it's like 1, 2, and then 3. They go in threes, right? So I kept telling my mom, I said, you don't have a chance. You cannot go. You can't make this thing happen. You're going to have to stick around. And I just knew that with her love for my dad and my brother, I just knew that she was going to be the next one in line. So all I could do is from that moment on, I made sure that my kids all went to church. I started acting like my mom and my dad almost, like my wife was right on board with me. We took the kids to church, whether they wanted to go or not. We said, you guys are going to get this anointing early. So once you make a decision as a grown person, you decide not to go, you got the foundation. And that's what my mom and dad did. They made sure I had the foundation. And if I chose not to, it wouldn't hurt them out loud, but it would hurt them in their spirit if I didn't attend. But they at least gave me the knowledge. And during that whole situation, my mom kept me prayed up, and she kept praying, and she kept saying, how blessed we were to have both of them for those years, you know, and the impact came after they passed away. When I got up to speak at Hal's funeral, and I looked at that crowd and I saw over 3,000 people at a church that only holds about 400 or 500. I knew the impact of a life. You know what I mean? Like a life can really impact people that you don't know it impacts. Right. Hal had more people at that service than I don't think there's ever been one like that at that church ever since. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm seeing like celebrities die and had services at that same church, and they had limousines and helicopters, but they didn't have the amount of people that were there for him. You know, the people were in disbelief. Literally, some people never even went in the church. They were just outside. They just wanted to be in the area, the concrete of that facility. Because they couldn't believe they were going there for that particular situation. Right. So the power of the church came through my mom, and that's where I think it got real to me. And I made sure my daughter, to this day, my daughter and my other daughters, they all had the foundation at Calvary. And if they don't decide to go to church anymore in life, I know that I did my part as a father. All right. Give them the tools they know to use, just like my parents gave me. If you have the tools, you will share them with your offspring, your seeds. Whether they take it or not, that's not you don't hold the grudge against them if they don't take it. As long as you fed them the seed, it's their option to take it and run with it. And I know I did that for a period of time. I haven't attended church, of course, 0 this year. I've not been to church at all. Not this year. Even before COVID, I didn't go. So I did have a chance to go for a couple of months, but I'm just saying I haven't attended at all. I'm 100%. I haven't been to church this year. Right. But I still know that there's some power sources out there, and I reach out when I can. But like all I can tell everyone is you got to have someone in your corner. You got to have somebody in your corner. That's the only way that you're gonna really get the full-fledged feeling. And Kenny, if I can pull up a picture of Kenny's mom too. Hold on, I got one right here. Kenny's mom. Yeah, right there. She's on there. That's why Kenny has what he has. Exactly. And that's the foundation. You got to have some foundation, man. The foundation is the key to moving forward. And I'm blessed to know. Like I said, I'm blessed from all y'all. Believe it or not, I didn't know the impact my brother had on you all, or my father had on you all until really after they died. I have had more stories from Ty and Shell and Dwayne. Now, me and Mo C, I'm gonna still call you Mo C because that's where I know you from. I haven't talked to you enough, but I can tell by what you said today. By what you said today, Mo C, I can tell that you are right there with Ty and Shell and Kenny and Dwayne on this whole situation. And of course, you guys say you were at my house. I don't remember all those times. I was probably trying to do my own stuff at that time, but I respect the fact that Hal had so many friends.
Something happened to his camera. Kenny, the foundation, as Kevin said, foundation there, but when did it be the transition to when it was real for you? Not just because Mama Hazel said go, not just because your family was there. When did it become real for you?
Like Kev said at the beginning, it's all about foundation and having the tools to deal. Usually for most people, it turns to be something tragic in life that brings you basically back to your roots, but those roots are the foundation of what you learn. For me, adulthood, because before then, I went because mom told me I better go, and I had to go because that's where the car was going on Sunday and Saturday and Wednesday nights. But as an adult, as you get older, you start doing your own thing, and you think you can do it by yourself, or you think you're doing it by yourself, or it's one of those things where you're out having a good time and you decide, I'm tired, it's time for me to go. Then by the time you get home, you realize something happened at the place you were just at. And it's like, wow, I guess I just made it out. No, there was that little voice in the back of your mind telling you it's time for you to go. So when you realize that you have those foundations in place already, the transition to it becoming personal for you becomes kind of simple, because it turns from a habit into a conviction. I wake up every morning in my own way, communicating to make it through the day. And I end my day doing the same thing. And it just makes it easier when life throws you a curveball and you got the right stick to knock it out the park. So for me, it's one of those things where it became a natural transition. And for those out there listening, I'm not no Bible thumper. I'm not going to sit back and say, hell and fire and brimstone. But the bottom line is we all need some help. And the help sometimes can't be from your brother that's standing next to you, because the help's got to come from inside. So with that being said, your walk with whatever you believe in is a personal thing, and continue your walk, because trust and believe is going to lead you the right way.
I know that's right. Want to close because I don't want to hold you too long, but I don't know if you guys can see these pictures back here. These are various pictures I was trying to get. We've got I'm trying to move. We got Kenny's wedding right here. We got Shell's wedding. That's mine, and Hal is that's right here. That's me marrying Hal and Regina. And oh man, yours is down at the bottom, Ty. And then there's a picture here. This picture right here. I was trying to get them all in, but I guess the screen wasn't big enough. There's a picture of Hal, Mike, and Shell. And then this is a picture of Venice League Basketball League. Kenny's over there in the corner, and Shell is over here. And then this picture right here is in front of some building. That's me, Ty, Cynthia Tolbert, and Shell.
Hey, Dwayne, can you point to those pictures? Just turn around and point to them.
Okay.
Turn around to behind you. Are they behind you or are they in front of you?
Well, no, they're on the screen.
Oh, yeah. But we can't. We can. Oh, you can't see. Okay.
Yeah, right.
So this is Shell. I see Shell, but I didn't know that was Jackie.
I'm in that picture too.
This is Ty and his mother at his graduation. Right here. That's Ty's mother. I remember seeing her.
Shell and Jackie.
And there's Shell and Jackie right here. And then there's Shell right here in front of the door. That's Cynthia Tolbert. And then that's Nishan.
Kenny and Sean.
And then this is, I did something. I didn't know what I did. I don't know how to get back to where I was now.
What if you move the camera?
To Dwayne.
Can you move the camera?
Is it your back screen? Is that your front screen? Because it's behind you, Dwayne.
Right, yeah, it's screen. And this is my wedding. Kenny, Ty, Kenny, Hal, Mike, Shell, all the rest of y'all guys are in there. And
we're in audio visual, Dwayne. Back in 8th grade, you were in audio visual, okay?
Yeah, but they had cameras. They had moving cameras. They didn't have all this stuff. And that was 47 years ago, man. Don't bring that up. I told you to behave, man.
It was an elective. Huh? It was an elective.
Yeah. Just because I was crew chief, I didn't know what to do. I just sent other people out. But anyway, I want to ask a question of specifically. I want to ask Kenny and Shell a question. When did, and I want to go with Kenny and then Shell, when did, talk about transition from hobby to career or just a job to a career? The job of where you work, Kenny, I don't know if you want me to say the name of it, it's a power company. When did that go from a decision to make it a career?
Can you hear me, by the way? Because I seen my camera must have froze up.
Yes,
so as long as you guys can hear me, it's cool. All right. Well, it became, it's still one of those things where it's a job going into a career that's getting ready to go into retirement, to get ready to go into my next phase.
Okay.
This job is going to allow me to go into my next phase because, I just can't keep still. So when I do leave the 9 to 5 alone, I'll be able to do my own thing, not have to worry because I got my nest egg sitting back, and it will allow me to venture off into some other interests that I'm cultivating right now.
Okay. Cheryl, when did, I'm not talking about your career, your job career. I'm talking about the DJing, and when we was carrying the crates of records.
Daddy's picture is frozen.
When we was carrying the crates of records that look. I'm trying to find my Ohio Players Fire album.
Cool.
We had, we was
How about the Honey album?
Yeah, stuff like this and different things like that. When we was carrying those in, when did that move from just playing music to a career? Because you've been doing that for a while, and obviously you're very good at it because you're the regular DJ for 94.7 at the Taste of Soul every year. So when did that come from, a hobby career? And we're going to close out after this.
All right. Well, to be honestly, it started taking off. We went out to promote with Moti, and things started growing from there. And that lasted for a long time. Those days out at Mount Sac College and all those promoter and fairgrounds events. And the name was growing, like Uncle Jam's Army was huge. Like they fill up the sports arena. But when we went to the IE, we would pack out, those arenas out there. So my name was growing out in the Inland Empire more than it was in the Los Angeles area. And then when that ended, then I landed in some nightclubs, well, mainly the Golden Tail with Roland. And then Roland was connected with the Black Hollywood circuit.
Okay.
So with the Black Hollywood and entertainment circuit, they would come through the Golden Tail, and then things would just spin off from there. So I got to say, Roland, rest in heaven, my brother. We miss you as well. We lost him this year. But after the promoter area, the Golden Tail area in the late 80s and early 90s, and things would just build, and the reputation, picked up and grew from there. So, and by the grace of God, I'm still doing it. But if you would have told me back when I was in Dorsey and say, Shell, you're still going to be doing this when in your 60s. And I was like, you must be out of your mind.
Right.
A couple words before mine. Look, give me the effing mind. Right.
But for some reason, I'm still doing it. I don't know why, but hey, the money's good and the exposure is good as well. So, that's I think that's one of my purposes on earth was to bring, to play good music so people can enjoy, that part of their life, entertainment, I guess.
Okay. Transitioning. Man, this has been fun. I'm trusting that we've helped some people. I want each of you, or those of you that would like to, take 2 minutes and just if you have some closing remarks, and then I've got to give some thank yous because, as you all know, those who are watching may not know, this is the last encouragement show. We're getting ready to pull the plug, fade to black, and hit mute. But want to, I've got some words after you all, but whoever wants to start, if you have a closing remarks, or go for it.
I'll start off being the youngest. Easy one of the being the youngest. I appreciate all these squares I'm looking at. I see 5 squares besides mine. I appreciate right now. I feel like I'm in the middle of all y'all right now. Okay, I lost Kenny, but I was on my screen. I was just in the middle of all y'all. So I feel love from all corners. Mike on top, Shell in the corner, Dwayne in the other corner, Kenny on one side of me, Ty on next to me. Is that what y'all see? Y'all see the same thing?
Yeah.
Okay. It's a reason for this, and that's why I'm going first. I appreciate what you guys fed into me through my brother, through the other avenues. I remember me and Mike, mostly we used to go and play a little hoop. We used to go up there and shoot some hoop. Shell always stayed outside. He wanted to be the point guard and shoot outside. It was amazing how my brother was probably taller than all you guys, right? By about 3 inches.
Yeah.
So he was taller than me the same way, but he didn't go easy on none of you guys. He went on you guys like you guys were the same height. I remember that back in the day in my little backyard court. We had a backyard court at my house.
Yeah.
And we all thought we were superstars back then. So, Ty, you had your hand up. You wanted to any closing remarks?
This with Dwayne having this event, me pulling up all those pictures this week, in the last couple of days, it just brought back so many wonderful memories of all you cats, man. And to see you guys all live here, it's like it just it touches me a lot, and I feel like I should kick myself in the butt for not being more aggressive to make sure that we actually see it, and can't say touch each other right now, but
Right.
see each other on a more regular basis. Mike, Kenny, Shell, you guys not far away.
Right.
You guys not far away, man. And we
I'm
need
far
to.
away.
No, man. You're not far away, Mike. We go back, we go back to 7th, 8th grade, Mike. You're not far away.
That's right.
It ain't like you in New England or something.
Right.
You ain't that far away. And so I think Dwayne's going to say something to that, but just seeing all you guys, but then especially, I want to give a huge shout out to brother Dr. Shea. That somehow, Dwayne, I always knew you would make it, and all of us have made it to a certain degree and been successful. But Dr. Shea, I'll give you a rightfully name we should call you, Dr. Shea. Whenever we was doing something crazy, or whenever we was doing something we shouldn't do, or saying something we shouldn't say, it was you who would always say,
Yeah.
"Hey, you don't have to say that. Why she have to be that?
Yeah.
Why you have to say it like that?" You would say it to me, Hal, Ken, Mike, and you would always check us. But that was in your spirit.
Exactly.
That was in your spirit at that time, man. And you've gone forth, and I was always proud of you, man. You jumped out and went to ASU, man. I was always proud of that. And now through you've come, you're an author. I want to say you're a show host. You have your own show, Facebook. You sell books out there. I mean, I am really proud of you, man. So I just want to give a shout out to you and say congratulations to you, Dwayne.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Any closing remarks? Mike, Shell, and then Kenny.
I just want to say I'm glad to be a part of this. Glad to be able to talk to you all. And God bless.
All right. Yeah, because you probably need to stop. You sound like you ain't gonna make it.
No, I'm not. It's emotional.
Shell, any closing remarks?
It's been some great years, man, and like we said, we don't keep in touch a whole lot now because we all got different responsibilities. But it all extends from back in the days when we used to hang out, when we played ball together. And after that, we was going to the club and going to Pomona and everything. It's been a hell of a ride. It's been a beautiful ride, man. With my brothers, we united. We call ourselves the Blood Brothers before the gang thing, and right. We was serious with it. We was serious with it. And that love has been, strong and lasting through the years. At least for me,
Yeah, definitely.
I got so much love for y'all, man. This was a good coming together, man. It was, and more than you doing the show, Dwayne. This was more than just the show for us, for me.
Appreciate it.
This was like a godsend,
Appreciate it.
Come together like this.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, closing remarks.
I guess you can call it well-needed therapy. Last time I saw you brothers, we were sitting over at the restaurant over in the South Bay, chilling, having a good time, and chopping it up over old times. And I keep on thinking we must get to that point again. But until we meet face to face again, I must say one thing. We may not run into each other as often as we would like to, but I know if push come to shove and I'm getting shoved out, I know I can make some phone calls. I know who'll be at my doorstep in a heartbeat. I want to tell you guys, I love you all. You know, we go back. You know, I remember when we first started this whole thing, it was like yesterday almost. And here we are 40 plus odd years later. And even though we don't have that connection as far as time face to face, like I said, I know if I was in dire straits, I know I can pick up the phone, send out a text. I know who'd come and running. Love you guys. Miss you guys. We got to get together real soon.
Praise God. Kevin's laptop died. That's why he went out. His phone died, but he got a chance to speak before. Closing remarks. I want to say to each of you, I want to say thank you. Thank you for loving me. Thank you for being in my life. I was always kind of left field, low self-esteem and all that sort of stuff. But, you know, you guys were right there. And for our viewers, this is what 45 years of love looks like. And like Kay said, you know, may not see each other every day, every week. You know, different ones may have talked in a while. But the last time all 5 of us was together, as Kay said, was the restaurant the day before my 50th birthday party. That was 11 years ago, guys. And so, but like I said, you know, individually we've been together, but in terms of all of us together, but thank you. And to our viewers, transitions happen, transitions come. Go through the transitions, learn from the transitions, because there's more coming. And I think Shell or Kenny said it, transitioning. It's a process, because you transition from one thing, go to another thing. And as it relates to your dreams and goals, you transition through those things. And this is a transition for me. This is our last show for the Encouragement Show. Fade to black right after this, but I must say thank you to some people. I want to say thank you to Natasha Williams. She was my very first guest almost 5 years ago. So I want to say thank you to her. Thank you to Frank Bozant and his wife, Yolanda Bozant. Thank you, Yolanda Bozant, for bringing me back into radio. My first radio gig was at KMAX in Pasadena, and then KPPC, and I was out for a while. Then I got a call. Yolanda had a show on KTYM, and she asked me to come on and just talk, because I think the co-host was gone, and I was there for, I don't think, 2 years. So thank you, Yolanda Bozant, for bringing me back into radio, and obviously thank you to Next to Jesus Christ, the second best thing that's ever happened to me, the little short light-skinned girl in the other room. She's probably screaming right now. But thank you for her support. And to my Uncle Scuffy and Auntie Elise, thank you. They've always supported me. Everything I did. Check me, but still support me. Thank you. And to my baby brother, Terry, thank you so much. But to all of you all who've been watching me over the last 5 years, thank you for watching. Thank you for being a part of my dream. I wanted to be in radio, and these guys can tell you I've wanted to be in radio ever since I was 16 years old. Yeah. And at the Circle in Dorsey, when the guy would be playing records, I always wanted to do that. I never got the nerve to ask. But while he was playing it, I'm down in the Circle mimicking, you know, introducing the next song in my mind, you know. Hey, but, Jesus. Jesus. Yeah, and so this has been a fulfillment of that dream. It's not over. It's just a comma. But this episode, this part of it is over. But I want to say thank you to everyone who has helped me live this dream for the last 5 years. And I want to say thank you. I greatly appreciate it. And again, this is not over. Thank you, Daphne. This is not over. This episode, this version is done, but you know, I'm not finished. My mama said I've been talking since I was 2 years old, so I'm not about to stop now. But, thank you all for being part of my dream, and thank you. I trust that you've been helped through my encouragements over the years. It's what I do. I don't know how to do anything else, but thank you. God bless you. And fellas, hang on for a second. But to everyone else, thank you for being a part of the Encouragement Show for these last 5 years. And as always, wanting you to always remember that your dream is doable. I want to help you go get it. Stay encouraged. Be blessed. Hold on, fellas.